Hey everybody, I know it's been a while, but I am here to do a humongous book haul, so I'm going to make your TBR explode, so you better get ready. Let's get started. Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing? Happy holiday season, whichever holiday you are celebrating. If you're not celebrating a holiday, I hope you're just having a great end to 2020. I know a lot of us are ready for this year to be over. December has been an insane month for me, I have to be honest with you guys. There has been so much work going on that I have been utterly unable to do anything book related other than read. I have read some pretty amazing novels. However, all of the book world stuff had to be put on hold so I could get everything in order to wrap up 2020. So today I am here to share with you a bunch of books that have been sent my way that all sound amazing, and I think you guys are going to be super excited about them. So, as always, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please pre-order these books from your local independent bookstore. It helps both the authors and the bookstores. If you are a library user, get your library on these now. Make sure that they have a copy for you when they come out. So let's get started. The first book I want to tell you about is The Center of Everything by Jamie Harrison. This is coming out in January, actually. I think it's January 12th. Let me make sure. January 12th. From my friends over at Counterpoint Books. This is the story of a woman. It's set in, I think, 2002. She lives in Montana. She's recently had sort of a head injury, so her perception of time is very all over the place. The present is very much mixing with things from the past, like 30 years in the past. And what happens is her family comes together, and it's for a 4th of July celebration, and a friend goes missing. And as that investigation's going on and our main character is sort of putting together pieces of her past and her present and everything that's going together, things start to come to the forefront and secrets start to come out and everything needs to be sort of put back together. I have heard nothing but rave reviews from the few friends of mine that have read this book, and it is definitely on the top of my TBR. And just take a moment and look at that amazingly beautiful cover. So this is The Center of Everything by Jamie Harrison, out from Counterpoint Press. And again, it comes out on January 12th. I'll do my best to give you guys actual dates, but you know how sometimes the books will have different dates on them. If things change, the publishing world, like the rest of us, is a little bit all over the place right now because you never know what's going to happen. So if the date gets moved, I apologize, but let's hope that they stay, because I want these authors' books to get out there when I want them, and I'm ready for an author event. How about you guys? The next book I want to tell you about is Abundance by Jakob. Guanzon? I'm not sure I'm saying that right. This comes out from Graywolf Press on March 2nd of 2021. This book sounds fascinating to me. It also sounds like it may rip my heart out, so there you go. This is the story of a father and a son. They are in really hard times. They've been evicted from their house for about 6 months. They're running out of money, and they don't have many places to go. But it is the young boy's birthday, and the father has an interview set for the next day. So at the start of the book, he treats his son to McDonald's and a hotel for the night. They've been living in their car. Unfortunately, something happens, an altercation happens between the father and someone in the parking lot. And then on top of that, the son starts to get ill. And they're sort of striving to reach that next day where things could possibly change. What's fascinating is this book is actually told in chapters based upon the amount of money in the father's bank account. And so if you look at the chapters, which I won't show you guys because I want you to get it, you sort of see as their money goes up and down and up and down. It's very fascinating. So I think that this is going to be a tough book as far as sort of heart-wrenching moments for this father and son, but I'm really excited to read it. So that is Abundance by Jakob Guanzon, out from Graywolf Press on March 2nd, 2021. Can you believe we're already looking at books in March of 2021? I can't. But it will be here before we know it, guys. It will be. It will be. The next book I want to tell you about is All God's Children by Gwyn. This is out from Europa. This is actually out now. You can get your hands on it as we speak. This is a Western, I don't know. Actually, it says it's a novel of the American West, but I think it's more than that. So it's set in 1827. We have a young man who, I'm going to just actually read this one to you because it's 3 characters and I don't want to miss anything. So in 1827, Duncan Lamons, a disgraced young man from Kentucky, sets out to join the American Army in the province of Texas, hoping that here he may live and love as he pleases. The same year, Cecilia, a young slave in Virginia, runs away for the first time. Soon infamous for her escape attempt, Cecilia drifts from owner to owner until she encounters frontiersman Sam Fisk, who helps her escape from a slave auction in New Orleans. In spite of her mistrust, she senses an opportunity for freedom and travels with Sam to his homestead in Texas. In this new territory, where the law is an instrument for the cruel and the wealthy, they begin an unlikely life together, unaware that their fates are intertwined with those of Sam's former army mates, some of whom harbor dangerous dreams of their own. So I don't know exactly how all 3 of those narratives come together. I've just started this book actually, but I'm super fascinated. I love a different take on a Western. I usually don't go straight Western, like it's not usually my thing. But when people sort of turn it up on its head, I think that's very fascinating. So that's All God's Children by Gwyn out from Europa, and you can get your hands on this right now. This has a blurb by Philip Meyer, who wrote The Sun, which is a novel I absolutely loved. So oh my goodness. And a blurb from Brandon Hobson, who wrote The Removed, which is coming out. But what was, his last book, it was nominated for the National Book Award. I'm not getting it in my head, but I love him. I love him. So get your hands on that one, you guys. Let's go a little bit fantasy, why don't we? And let's talk about The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. This is out from Everden. I think that's how you say that. I don't want to say that wrong. Erewhon? Ooh, publisher's name that I can't say. Erewhon. I am so sorry that I got that wrong. This is the story of a young woman. She lives in a society where basically her only role is to marry. And they actually train women to find husbands. But she wants to become a sorceress. And she has been sort of hunting down these grimoires to teach her how to become a sorceress. However, because her family is so impoverished, they only really want her to get married. However, when she gets married, her powers are bound so that she doesn't hurt her children. So she is really at this juxtaposition on whether or not she wants to get married and help save her family, or if she wants to pursue her dream of becoming a sorceress. One day in a bookstore, she actually finds this grimoire that she thinks is going to answer all of the questions, and it's sort of connivingly taken from her by another woman who wants to be or is studying to be a sorceress. We don't really know at the beginning, and her brother. And she sort of loses the book to the woman, so she casts a spell for help. And that's where things go all awry. I think there's sort of a romance angle to this, but I also think it's about a woman and the choice between these two things, and what she's going to do to save her family, or is she going to choose to follow her dream? So that's The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk, and this cover is absolutely gorgeous. I just love it so much. And this book is actually blurbed by some really big names as well. Sometimes just takes a blurb, guys, and a beautiful cover. That's all it takes. One author that doesn't need a lot of introduction on this list is Sigrid Nunez. Her book, The Friend, which won the National Book Award a couple of years ago now, is one of those books that I constantly go back to as a phenomenal read. And her new book, What Are You Going Through by Sigrid Nunez, out from Riverhead Books. Thank you, Riverhead, for sending me this beautiful finished copy. I'm about halfway through this book as we speak. This is a meditation on death and friendship and relationships. And the book the book starts with a woman who is staying in a college town as she's visiting a friend who is dying in the hospital. And the friend goes sort of ups and downs as far as that goes, but it's sort of a discussion regarding their past. And also it makes our main character sort of investigate her own interior thoughts about her mortality. But she also notices that there's an author speaking event that is going to be happening in the town she's staying in. So she goes to it, and it turns out she has a relationship with the author, and things sort of talk about that aspect of relationships. So it's about relationships with your friends, it's about relations with yourself, and it's also like past love relationships, as it all sort of focuses on this idea of dealing with where life takes us, and at the end of life, what happens then. So that's What Are You Going Through by Sigrid Nunez. This is out from Riverhead Books. You can get your hands on it right now. I am halfway through it. If you guys remember a few years ago, Melissa Broder had a novel called The Pisces that was longlisted for the Women's Prize, I believe, and it had all sorts of opinions about it. I personally loved it. And Melissa has a new book coming out, Milkfed, and this is coming out from Scribner on February 2nd of 2020. There is something about this cover, you guys, which makes me crack up. But this is the story of Rachel. She's a 24-year-old woman, and so her religion really is calorie counting. I've started this book, and she's obsessive with this idea of how many calories she can eat for what meals, what that will entail, how she will do that, and it's sort of been beaten into her by her mother for years and years and years. And that is really sort of the sole center of who she is as a person. But her therapist convinces her that she should take a decleanse, or what is it called? A detox from her mother. Take time off and get away from calorie counting and try something different. And here's what the book says. It says, early on in the detox, Rachel meets Miriam, a Zaftig young Orthodox Jewish woman who works at her favorite frozen yogurt shop and is intent upon feeding her. Rachel is suddenly and powerfully entranced by Miriam, by her Sundays and her body, her faith and her family. And as the two grow closer, Rachel embarks on a journey marked by mirrors, mysticism, mothers, milk, and honey. I expect this to be a crazy ride. And I think Melissa Broder, I've read, that The Pisces, her characters are always a little bit messy. And I love that about them. And so I'm super fascinated to finally get to this one. So that's Milkfed by Melissa Broder. This is out from Scribner Books on February 2nd, 2021. A book. This is actually an author I had heard about, but I hadn't heard about the book until FSG sent it to me. And now that I have it in my hands, I am fascinated by it. So Robbie Arnott, I believe he wrote a book called The Flames, if I'm not mistaken. Just Flames, which was everywhere on UK BookTube and Australian BookTube. I don't know if it actually even came out in the US. I never saw a copy of it, which is rare for me. But the Rain Heron sounds phenomenal, and this cover is fantastic. So this is set, Ren is a woman, she lives sort of in a frontier, a remote frontier, where she sort of just takes care of herself. She hunts for her own food, she grows her own crops, and just sort of lives her own life in quiet solitude. But it is disturbed. It says, but her quiet stability is disturbed when an army unit led by a young female soldier comes to the mountains on government orders in search of a legendary creature called the Rain Heron, a mythical, dangerous, form-shifting bird with the ability to change the weather. Ren insists that the bird is simply a story, yet the soldier will not be deterred, forcing them both into a grueling quest. And this is like a meditation on friendship, and female friendship, but also this mythology and these dueling sort of aspects of looking at this story. And I am enthralled with the idea of this book. I am so excited to finally read it. So, I didn't say, this one is The Rain Heron by Robbie Arnott, and it comes out on February 9th, 2020. It is a slim little book. I don't think it's going to take me too long to read, but I am totally in love with it. I cannot wait. A collection of short stories that is coming out on February 9th as well is Kink. It is edited by Kwon and Garth Greenwell, and this is coming out from Simon and Schuster. This is, as it says, it is an anthology that opens an imaginative doorway into the worlds of desire. The stories within portray love, longing, BDSM, and sexual kinks in all of their glory from some of today's most celebrated writers. Now, this has Brandon Taylor. This has R.O. Kwon. This has Garth Greenwell. This has Carmen Maria Machado. This has Roxane Gay. So the authors I know are phenomenal. I've already read the Brandon Taylor story. It is fantastic. And Alexander Chee's in this too, guys. How did I forget that? And I don't know some of the authors, which makes it really exciting. So I think that this book is going to sort of open a lot of minds. It's going to bring a lot of things into conversation. And it's also going to allow a lot of people to see stuff in their lives that are expressed maybe for the first time, which is what I think literature should do. So I'm super excited about this. So this is Kink, a collection of stories edited by R.L. Kwon and Garth Greenwell. This is coming out from Simon & Schuster on February 9th, 2021. Yeah, okay. Three more, and I'm almost done, I promise. You know what's so funny? I was trying to remember Brandon Hobson's first book, and I have his second book sitting here. People, what's wrong with me? His book, Where the Dead Sit Talking, was longlisted and then shortlisted for the National Book Award a couple years ago, and it was phenomenal. I am obsessed with him. And this is his new book, The Removed. This is coming out from Echo, also in February. I don't know the exact date. I think it's February 9th, but don't quote me on that. This book is, this book sounds amazing. How many times I'm going to say this sounds amazing, but this one sounds amazing, you guys. So it's been 15 years since their teenage son, Ray Ray, was killed in a police shooting. The Achota family has been suspended in private grief. The mother, Maria, increasingly struggles to manage the onset of Alzheimer's of her husband. The daughter, Sonia, leads a life of complete solitude, and she really only has like these spells of infatuation, those romantic infatuations that never end well. And they have a son named Edgar who has fled away and is really involved in drugs and just feeling alienated from culture and from the world. There is a bonfire that goes on. It's fast approaching. It's part of the Cherokee National Holiday, and it will also be the anniversary of Ray Ray's death. So the family is going to be coming back together. I should hold this up because this cover is also gorgeous. The family is going to be coming back together, okay, at this event. And what it says here on the back, but as the bonfire draws near, each of them feels a strange blurring of the boundary between normal life and the spirit world. Maria and Ernest, that's the father, take in a foster child who seems to almost miraculously keep Ernest's mental fog at bay. Sonia becomes dangerously fixated on a man named Vin, despite, or perhaps because of, his ties to the tragedy in her lifetime and lifetimes before. And in the wake of a suicide attempt, Edgar finds himself in the mysterious Darkening Land, a place between the living and the dead, where old atrocities echo. Whew, that sounds dark and deep, and it's going to be amazing. Brandon Hobson is a phenomenal writer. So that is The Removed by Brandon Hobson, out from Echo in February of 2020, and that cover is gorgeous. So, okay, two more, you guys. I promise. I'm almost done, but I hope all of these are winding up on your TBR. This is The Doll by Ismail Kader, translated from the Albanian by John Hodgkinson. Now, I think from what I've read is that Ismail is a really popular Albanian novelist. I personally could not tell you one Albanian novel that I've read, so this one makes me super excited. And this is out already from Counterpoint Press, and you can get your hands on it. And this is sort of like a metafiction. It's sort of based on his real life, but it is a fictional account. I've already started it, and this is all I'm going to say. This is about a man and his mother. And at the very beginning of the book, his mother has passed away. Him and his wife returned from Paris to Albania, where she is, and a dive into that relationship occurs. I don't want to know much more because I want to sort of be left in that space of discovering the life of this man and his relationship with his mother as I read it. I love books like that, and I will say I have started this one, and the language is just beautiful. John Hodgkinson, has done a very good job of translating The Doll by Ismail Kader out from Counterpoint, and you can get your hands on this one right now. And I also think that this is a beautiful cover as well. There are some beautiful covers in the world, you guys. Good thing I don't do like the most beautiful cover of the year, because I would not be able to choose. I wouldn't be able to choose, you guys. Last but not least is The 30 Names of Night. This book is actually already out, and it's by Zen. And I'm sorry. I thought I could do it. I practiced. I have listened to him say his name. And as I try to do it on film, it's not going to happen without me butchering it. So I'm just going to hold it there. This is out from Atria Books. This is the story of a young trans man 5 years after his mother has been killed. She was killed in a fire. And it's been 5 years, and he still sees her ghost at night. And he is trying to transition from his given name to a name that more represents who he is as a person. He is an artist, but he has been unable to produce art other than going out into the neighborhoods of New York to a little part called Little Syria. And he does sort of this tagging art. And that's been his only artistic expression. And one night he finds a journal in this building, and this journal is from a friend of his mother's, and there's a connection. And so he goes on an adventure to figure out the connection between his mother and maybe learn more about her now that she's gone, as he also finds out who he is as a person coming into his own trans male body and perspective as he makes that transition. I started this book. I do think that the author has a phenomenal grasp of sort of the beauty of art and relationships. It's a little bit simile happy for me, or metaphor happy even. I don't even know how to explain it, but I do think that she, the mother character, she is so well drawn. I'm trying to get my head around what I want to say, is so well drawn for a character that is really not alive, that fascinates me. And our main character, he is just so good at like the juxtaposition of the position in life that he is going through. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is The 30 Names of Night by Zen, and I'm going to hold his last name up there for you. And this is out now from Atria Books. Okay, everybody, that was quite a stack of books. I hope that every single one of them winds up on your TBR. I hope that you've missed me, and I hope that you guys know that I'm going to try to put out a bunch of content over the next couple weeks. So I apologize. I hope life sort of wraps up, but you know it won't. I don't think 2021 is going to be any less complicated than 2020, but what do we do here? So as always, I really, really thank you. If you are a return subscriber, I couldn't do this without you. If you are new to my channel, I hope you like what you see and you stick along. As always, I encourage you to shop locally, read globally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye!